That
Yeah.
presentation, obviously, that I created is also on Moodle, and should you wish to access it, you should be able to see that. But basically everything else in the presentation, like journal presentation related to topics like formatting the assignment, structuring the assignment, writing the task, looking at plagiarism, referencing, they are pretty much
Yeah.
all standard things that you have to do for all the units and for all the assignments. But what we want to
Yeah.
do is obviously have a discussion in terms of how do you compile the evidence which is required to, meet the assignment requirement and the criteria in the first go. Okay,
Yes.
so let's start with the brief introduction into the assignment brief. As you can see on the screen, basically the assignment brief consists of, a bit of a brief scenario which has been given. That brief allows you to get a bit of a context. I think it's not detailed, that's why I will put more detailing into it. Then there is a task one, which is about making a presentation. It has a number of assessment criteria across a lot of different learning outcomes that we've covered. Task two is also a presentation, as you would see. And then the last task is basically a Word document, task three. So, as you know, the emerging technologies unit has 5 learning outcomes, and across these learning outcomes, we have different assessment criteria. So, task one is required as a presentation, task two is also required as a PowerPoint presentation, task three is basically your Word document.
Only 3 tasks.
Yeah, so basically, what will happen is you will actually end up producing 3 documents for this assignment. Task one will be one PowerPoint presentation, task two will be another PowerPoint presentation, and task three is going to be one Word document. So when you do submit, you're submitting 3 documents for the purposes of evaluation. Now, the assignment brief has given a bit of a scenario which says, you'll gain employment as an assistant within the research and development department of a medical institute. The key point to note here is that it is telling you that you have to assume that you've joined as a research assistant in the R&D department, and that too within an organization which is called the Medical Institute. You've been assigned a project to investigate emerging technologies. So within the Medical Institute, as a role, your job is to do research on finding out what are the emerging technologies in the field of medicine or medical related stuff. And here you are required to look into the requirements which will help identify the technologies which will make the organization future proof. That means you're going to try and identify maybe latest technologies, instruments, equipment, which is going to essentially allow the organization to adapt or be future proof. That means they will not fall behind in terms of employing IT as a technology within the organization. So here, your manager, who's a project manager, he's asked you to prepare and deliver a presentation. You'll be required to produce presentation material, including supporting notes and other documentation, which is in task three, Word document, to support the evidence. So, for example, if you do your research and you uncover that, okay, this is something latest in this field, this is something latest which the medical institute should have, you should be able to back it up with some data. And that data is going to be produced as task three in terms of some tasks required as Word document. Now, in the first task, it says carry out research for your presentation. So what we are going to do is, obviously, if I start the presentation and I'll show you how we do it, you've been asked to research following areas. So there are these bullet points which are given. Each of these bullet points actually correspond to individual assessment criteria. So if I see the first bullet point, this is task one AC or assessment criteria 1.1. The second one is 1.2. Then you have 2.1, then you have 2.2, then you have 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and then you have 4.1 and 4.2. Now, the merit distinction criteria, which is 1M1, 2M1, 1D1, 2D1 are given here. This is 1M1, the first bullet point. This is 2M1, this is 1D1, and this is 2D1. Now, 5.1 and 5.3 are not very clear because they have been merged into some of the other assessment criteria. How would we go about checking it? The other way, if you recall what I shared with you the other day, is that also when you do the assignment, it is always good to have, the unit specification in front of you. So when I look at the unit specification, it also helps us understand what are the tasks in 5.1 and in 5.3, which is being listed here. So I can see 5.1 talks about identify future technology developments, and 5.3 explain how would you future-proof the computing systems. Now, if I go back to the assignment brief, what I will see essentially is that in the assignment brief, both of them are covered. Explain how would you future-proof the system. So actually, this is 5.1, and identify future technology development, which could be introduced is 5.3. So that means 4.1 and 4.2 is somewhere which have been merged. But generally speaking, a awarding body is quite clear. And what you have to do is when you start doing these tasks, you can copy them as it is on the slide one by one. And obviously, we know how they are numbered and how they are assessed. But relating it to the criteria given here is just a easy way of confirming that you are making sure that when you make the PowerPoint presentation, you are covering each of these tasks essentially. So let me open a PowerPoint presentation. And what I did in terms of making that presentation is I started off with some of the bits which I'm going to share with you now. And
Yeah,
that
but does this apply for the last assignment as well? Like
the last assignment, we will have to check. If you want, we will check the assignment brief, because in that assignment, every task will clearly say what output has to be produced. So if we look at just very briefly, because now that you've asked that question, so the previous assignment was cyber security. And if I share that with you, it included, a couple of things on the presentation, which is, I think, this one. Yeah, so this one is cybersecurity. Here, the task 1 was a presentation. Task 2 was a Word document. Task 3 was also a Word document. Task 4 was also a Word document. So task 1 was actually a presentation. Task 2, 3, 4 could be done in one document because it was required as a Word document. And then task 5 is also a Word document. So in this assignment, you have to submit 2 documents, one PowerPoint presentation for task 1, and task 2, 3, 4, 5 can be submitted as one document, which is Word. Okay. So this one, we are clear that this was primarily having a different type of output required for certain tasks. So going back to this one, and what I would do is, yeah, go on.
You mean like when doing the first assignment, regarding the first assignment, when doing
Yes.
the first assignment, we should like do only 3 tasks, like not tasks, I mean like 3 documents, presentations and Word documents.
So cybersecurity assignment, you are going to submit 2 documents. One will be a PowerPoint presentation, and second will be a Word document. The Word document will consist of tasks 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Task.
In this case, in this unit also, I don't want to, I want to keep it simple. I don't want to confuse you, because in this case, there are 3 tasks given, but 2 of the tasks are essentially asking for PowerPoint presentation. So you could produce one PowerPoint for task 1 and 2 and submit one document for task 3. That will also be acceptable. But sometimes it is good. Yeah, sometimes it is good to combine the documents as long as you are not getting confused and you know you have written the task and you have covered all of them. Because when I look at task 1 here, it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16 tasks or assessment criteria in the first presentation. And in the second one, there are 3. So if you have to do one presentation, you have to ensure that all the 19 criterias are presented on the slides, because you're looking at, say, achieving distinction. If you're only looking at pass, then you will do only the pass criteria. You will leave the extension activities.
Is it okay to do different PowerPoint presentations and Word documents?
Yeah. That's what I've done in what I'm going to show you for task 1 and task 2 and the task 3. That's what I've prepared as an example, and that's what I'm going to show you. So
Thank
what
you
I did
so much.
was look at the first task. It talks about emerging technologies in medical industry. That is what the scenario is. So what I've done is I've created this slide, and what I've done is I've done a bit of an introduction to say, nowadays, so because obviously we are looking at non-COVID right now, so I've created a presentation wherein we are not going to be selectively looking at devices or advancements which have happened to help us deal with COVID. If you were studying in 2021, 22, 23, you would have used maybe more of COVID related things because that was the thing which most companies were looking at future proofing themselves with. But now that COVID is gone, we need to look at doing a bit of research, which is not just COVID, but in broader sector, which will be for the medical institute. So I've written a bit of an introduction to explain how I'm making the presentation. Then what I've done is I've written the first bullet point related to benefits of using digital tools, right? So what I've done is, the reason I want to show you the presentation is because when tasks are required to be done as presentation, what you have to do is you can put only so much material on the slide, maybe 30 to 50 words. But in order to explain those slides, what you've written and go into detail, you need to write speaker notes. So what I've done is for the first task, because I need to cover this and it talks about explain the benefits. Explain means we need to write between 50 to 75 words or 100 words maximum. So what I've done is I've written technologies such as big data, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence are making a significant impact in medical industry, and these tools can help in diagnosing, consulting, preventive medication, and other applications. So one of the things that we saw with the use of internet and artificial intelligence is the use of telemedicine. So what I've done is I've written a point here and I've explained the slide in detail underneath by putting some verbatim or some commentary or explanation, whichever way you want to look at it. So this helps me make one slide, for each of the assessment criteria. Now, if I want to be clinical, I can also put that this is assessment criteria 1.1. Helps me identify. Right? Then I go to the next one, talks about in the bullet point on the assignment brief, describe the evolution of technology in terms of social media, collaboration, project management, leadership, technology, and digital, what do you call technology. Let me share my full screen because I want you to see it together. So if you see what I'm doing is I'm copying this text and copying it and writing it here so that it comes into the PowerPoint, if you see. So this talks about describing the evolution of digital technology, but what are the areas? Social media, collaboration, project management, leadership, technology, and digital. I've written and I've covered them here. So this is AC 1.2. Is that okay? Because when you look at the unit specification, it also shows and gives you the same. Describe the evolution of technology in context of social media, collaboration, project management, leadership, and digital technology. So as you can see, both the ways in which the task is written is the same on unit spec as well as on the assignment brief. So when I write,
have you noticed the connection? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, I know, I noticed. I noticed, so don't worry.
Yeah.
I've not gone forward, so I'm
Okay.
covering. So the next task that we want to do after this, I wanted to show you the slide and the assignment brief together. So as you can see, this is explain the benefits. That is the same task I've written, copied from here onto the slide. When I go to the next one, obviously there's a big sentence, as you can see, but what I've done is without deleting or meaning of it, I've written it in as an opening slide. So here it talks about AC 1.2, describe the evolution of digital technology, which is what it is. Describe the evolution of digital technologies. Now it is asking me to cover areas. So social media, project management, leadership, and all, I've written it as bullet points here. And under
in the title.
Yeah, the title, because I can't fit everything here in the top. So I've split the title into this slide, but what I've done is explanation I've given in the speaker notes, as you can see. So
Yeah,
I've
but in the
written
title,
one
I should
paragraph to
include.
explain everything.
Yeah, in the title, I should mention the note, the point as it is, or I can adjust it.
Yeah, you can, if you want to fit it on the slide, you can do it, or you can adjust it and put it in the speaker notes. That is down to you.
Okay.
Okay, so what I've done is I've written the title, but because it's not just about writing the title, I have to describe, and describe as a command word means that I need to write 75 to 125 words. So what I've done is I've written the details underneath in the speaker notes here to do justification for achieving that task.
Yes.
Okay. Similarly, I've gone to the third one, and it talks about detailed new emerging technologies. This is assessment criteria 1.3. So again, this talks about what do I need to cover here? How do I know what are new emerging technologies? So if I go into the unit spec and I look at in the unit spec, it is, which criteria is this? Under the unit spec, it says describe new emerging technologies. So what I would want to do is go into the unit spec to actually see which is the area this is covering. So if you see, it says new research emerging technologies here. So this assessment criteria is 4.1 because it talks about new emerging technologies here. Can you see?
Yeah.
So sometimes
Yeah.
you have to look at the assignment brief and you have to look at the unit spec, because when you look at the wordings, you're able to relate to which is the task being asked to be done. And then because it is asking again in three areas, because if I scroll down to indicative content, as you would see, emerging technologies, there are so many of them. Now, I don't need to cover all of them. You are free to do so. What I've done is I've researched my areas and I've looked at booking mobile application, real-time data, and big data. That is what I picked up from here, depending on what you can research. Okay, and then I've added wordings here because I need to describe and detail them. Is that okay?
Yeah, I understand.
The next one that we go to is talking about, explain the term artificial intelligence. So as you can see, this one, when I talk about artificial intelligence, is actually AC 2.1. How? Because it is on the spec
Yes.
sheet here. And then here, when it says explain the term artificial intelligence, you're just defining the term.
But should I write 2.1
If you
at
write
the
it,
above?
it is going to be good because it shows that you are able to, um, understand the task, and obviously you're doing and providing the evidence against or for that task.
Yeah, I
Okay.
understand.
And similarly,
Yeah.
you go and develop this presentation by identifying, how explain artificial intelligence is used. So I would write AC 2.2 here, and I've explained it underneath. Go to the next one, how intelligence is benefited, that is 2.3. So AC 2.3. And then I go to the next slide, which says people's concern. So here it says explain the concern which people has. Again, this is AC 2.4. Okay, then next slide. Although I'm just writing the points here, but I'm explaining them in detail because your detailing has to be there. Because if it was a Word document that you were asked to prepare, you would actually write an essay or a couple of paragraphs to explain everything. But because in this presentation, in this assignment, it is asking you to produce a presentation, you have to write 30 to 50 point words on the slide, and then the balance explanation of it underneath in the speaker notes.
Mhm.
Is that okay? So future proof of
Yeah.
computing. So here explain how intelligence could help you in future proofing. That is assessment criteria 2.5. So future proofing is actually combined 5.3, and it says how artificial intelligence can help you in the future. So you can cover both of them together. So if I would put
Mhm.
AC 2.5, I would do one slide here, and or maybe if you're doing them together, then AC 5.3. but maybe put more details in, maybe make 2 slides, 2.5 and 5.3, but you, depending on you in terms of how much you're writing, because both these are asking for what are the future usages of technology. In one case, it is asking artificial intelligence, in the other case, it is asking, technologies. And then the next one is future developments in the case of technology, which is 5.1. So again, here I would write AC 5.1. And if I look at whether I'm writing it and correctly covering it, I go down to the indicative content. It talks about these future developments. Things like smart cars, smartphones, smart lights, smart business. And obviously, because this is slightly old as a content, we are looking at AI, which is OpenAI, Claude, Perplexity, virtual reality handsets like spatial computing of Apple Vision Pro, and nanotechnology, which is coming in to promote, robotics in big way. And I've explained that underneath in the, in the speaker slides. And then a best practice is to always write an introduction and conclusion to what I've done. So I've written a bit of introduction, and I've also written a bit of conclusion, on the presentation. And then the most important part, I've actually referenced my material. I put where have I taken reference from.
Mhm.
So this helps me cover task 1. And I've covered all the criteria. Okay.
Mhm.
Now in task 2, again, it is asking me to make a presentation, but in task 2, it is asking me to produce only 3 assessment criteria, 4.3, 4.4, and 5.2. So it says you have been asked to present findings of your research from task 1, which is a follow-on from what I've prepared as slides. And you've been asked to explain research approaches. You've been asked to explain what methods that you have used for research and development. And once your presentation is compiled, you will be asked to deliver this presentation to your project manager or your tutor. So once you're ready and once you've made the presentations, what I will do is we will do another Zoom session like this. And in that Zoom session, what will happen is I will ask you to present what you have made in terms of the slides. Maybe we'll do a 10-minute quick session. Okay, now here again, I've started off with a bit of an introduction, and I've mentioned research approaches, which is 4.3. And I've put some details in that I've used deductive research approach as against primary to basically look at reading a lot of reports. And from the reports, I've been able to compile this information that these are the developments which will be affecting medical technology. Then the second one is talking about a bit about your research approach, which is AC 4.4. And I have further detailed that research approach by mentioning that I am using the research technique SRM and using books from Saunders and obviously molecular biology and other aspects and areas which I've used to research and collect that information. And then finally, it says you need to present your findings. So this task essentially is 5.2, which is I've summarized what I've done in terms of study, in terms of the health and social care, healthcare industry in general, and what technologies are going to help the medical institute, which I've summarized here in my words. But I've written, and this part you are going to explain when you actually have your presentations. You'll present task 1, and you'll say how I've collected that data, which sources I've looked at, and that would meet the criteria of what is called this particular task 2, which is produce and deliver a presentation. You can also record this presentation. When you make it, you can also deliver this as a recording. Sometimes we have learners who are asked to do this, and what they do is they basically record this presentation and send us a full recording of the presentation to be able to, let's say, judge their
Yeah.
work. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Like one of the learners has actually, created a full MP4 video, because on PowerPoint presentation, you have an option to record. As you can see on the top, this is a place you can record your presentation on the top here.
Mhm.
And when you
Yeah.
record, what it'll do is you press this record button, it'll start taking voiceover. as you can see. So
Wow.
I can record this presentation, and recording can be converted into what is called a MP3 recording, because I can see the speaker notes here. I can look at that, and I'm recording this presentation. My voice and my image is coming up here, and this gets saved as a file. But the file size
Yeah.
can be huge because it's recording a video along with it. So what you have to do at some stage then is basically once you have done the recording, you will then export that recording, and that can be submitted as a video like this, which is got your voice behind it.
Mhm.
The OTHM 6 Tourism and Hospitality Management Diploma Program. Today I will be presenting Marine Entertainment's Performance Review and External Environment Analysis.
So what she has done is she has recorded this as a full presentation.
Slide.
And it's a 13-minute recording that she has done, just to give you an example. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's based in Paris, for example. So obviously, sometimes because of the distance, if we cannot arrange a session, though we can today because of technology, you can also record, because sometimes learners can be shy or whatever. You can take this route of recording it and also sending along with your submission. Sometimes it will not come on the email, but what you'll do is upload it to WeTransfer or use a free transfer facility, and then you'll upload the material and the link will come into us. We'll download and then assess your assignment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this covers task 2. Task 3, if we have to look at, we go back into the usual way of actually writing the assignment, and I'll share only this document, which is going to be easier. So when we look at the Word document, essentially what you'll do is you'll start off with the name of the unit. You'll say submitted by, you put your name here and you put your registration number here on the front page. I'm just writing mine. So I would just say, my number as ALID, just as an example. And then I would obviously write the tasks out, which are there and given in task 3. Obviously, this table of content will be produced later, because what I've done is I have also, this is another way I want to share with you. What I've done is I've taken screenshots of the presentation and included them here on the document, as you will see.
Yeah.
Okay. And whatever speaker notes I've written, I've explained and I've written underneath those slides.
Okay.
Right. So task 1 and
Yeah.
task 2, most of the slides, what I've done is I've actually taken a screenshot, put it here, and then put the speaker notes along with the slide. You can submit it like this also.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, going to
That'll be
task
great.
3. So this is task 1, this is task 2, and then going to task 3, which is what we want to look at on a Word document. This is task 3. So task 3 is
Yes.
talking about implication of change. What the implication of change, if I put this now across to you as a full screen, just for reference purposes. So here task 3 is talking about produce a report, which is a Word document, and it says explain the need for change, the change, how can it affect people differently, implementing change and considerations when you have to look at as a project manager, how will people adapt to change. So what I've done here is, as you can see, individually I've addressed each of these tasks. So 3.1, how will it affect people as a change? 3.2, methods of implementing change within the organization. 3.3, considerations that I want to look at when I'm implementing the change, and how will people adapt, and how would you analyze the change. So I've covered all these tasks, in the Word report. Now, obviously, my best part would be I would always advise that you write an introduction and you write a conclusion, because it's a best practice. It allows you to start the assignment by giving a background and then finish the assignment to say, this is what I presented, or this is how I've gone about attempting the task. And towards the end, I've done referencing. So this is the theoretical task. If you recall on the assignment brief, which or the unit specification, because it talked about understand the implication of technology. Here we have discussed Kurt Levin's model. We've discussed Kotter's 8-step model. We've looked at the how a change is implemented in the organization by freezing, unfreezing, and refreezing. So you would need to take the theoretical models into play to actually cover these assessment criteria. So these are covered, I think, in a sufficient amount of detail in LO3 presentation when we talked about, change models and how the process of change comes about. So obviously you have to include a bit of theory in this in your words, and that would allow you to cover this task 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Any questions on this? Any doubts, any questions?
No, it's clear. Everything is clear
Good stuff.
until now.
So there
Maybe
are
when
3 tasks in the
I
assignment. Yeah, there are 3 tasks in the assignment. Task 1 and 2 are presentations. Task 3 is essentially a Word document. And what I would do is I would ideally keep task 1 and 2 into one presentation as long as you write the tasks and headings very clearly. And then task 3 you can present as a Word document. Okay,
yeah.
good stuff.
If I have any questions, can we arrange like a meeting or something in
Yes,
the
we can
future?
definitely. You can send me an email and I can get onto a meeting or a phone with you to explain if you're struggling or if you need any additional material, then I can provide that to you via email and explain how it has to be done. But this,
Yeah.
which I've shown you right now, task 1, task 2, and the Word document, I'm going to provide you as a sample assignment. So sample work, which will be uploaded on Moodle, so you can have a look at it so that when you start doing your own, you can actually compare and see that you're going on the right lines and you're doing it correctly. So this will be for
Yeah.
reference purposes. I will upload on Moodle.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Amal.
Okay, and then I'm going to ask Jill today to send you the schedule for the 3rd unit, which we are not going to start tomorrow. So the presentations and videos of it are going online today and tomorrow, but we will look at starting that maybe after 10th of April. So it'll give you a week's break so that you're able to complete the 2 assignments and have sufficient time and then start the 3rd unit.
Yeah, the 2 assignments after before
Yeah.
10th of April. Yeah.
If you can submit, that's great. If not, then take your time and we'll start the third unit after you have submitted the 2 assignments so that you don't you're not coming under any pressure and you're able to submit the assignments, you get the assessment back, these units are signed off and they have been graded and you have achieved these units. Because if we go very fast with the units, the problem is you might feel that I've got 3 assignments to do and where do I start, which assignment do I do? So best thing would be to look at completing these 2 units and then we start the lecture on the 3rd one. Okay. That's great. I think your screen is frozen. So what I will do is what I was saying was that we start this as a unit after you've submitted the 2 assignments. So you are not going to feel pressured to be able to submit the 2, but you know that you've completed the 2 assignments and then we start the 3rd unit. Otherwise, there'll be a bit of, okay, I've got 3 to do, which one I do first, and then, some delivery you're taking almost on 3 or 4 days in a week. That would, mean that you'll forget some parts of it. So best is to concentrate on the assignments of the 2 units, and then we start the 3rd unit. But I will ask Jill to send you the schedule so that you have it, and you also know that this teaching on the 3rd unit is going to start, say, from 14th of April, Monday. So you have this week, 7th to 11th, and maybe 14th to the 18th, so we can start the 3rd unit on as we get it, or maybe on the 21st of April.
What do you mean? What's 14th of April?
No, I'm saying you need, I don't know in terms of how you do the assignment. My suggestion would be submit first assignment first, which is cybersecurity, because I will give you detailed feedback on it to say whether you are doing it correctly. That first assignment feedback would allow some of the changes and amendments to be followed into second assignment as well, because I want you
Yeah,
to
I
get
understand.
into a slot of writing the assignment academically, referencing it properly, and then structuring it in a way that it is in the first submission itself it is approved. So when you submit the first assignment, because you're going to do it for the first time, I want to give you detailed feedback, and that if you can submit by 14th of April, cybersecurity one, then I can give you detailed feedback by 14-15 to say everything is okay, follow the same pattern, follow the same way of writing it, and you are fine. And then you can submit the second assignment in that week, sometime when you're ready, and we can start the classes on 21st April for the third unit.
Yeah, actually, I have received an email, and I can't remember from who exactly, saying that I should finish my first assignment at the 7th of April. Is that right, or it's open?
It's open, but what we do is from our system, it will automatically send you an email. Because what we do is if you've finished a unit or study of the unit with the lecturer, then it normally gives a reminder email to say you have 2 weeks to be able to submit the assignment. So
Yeah.
that's why it would have come for cybersecurity. But for this unit that we have completed today, you'd probably have time till 21st of April to complete. But
Yeah.
it is not a fixed time. I normally say get used to university, because you're wanting to go to university and study in the future. It's best to understand how the system works, how the assignments are released, how the assignments are submitted, because there's always a fixed time to submit in the term. And there is no extension allowed
Yes.
to that unless you're unfit or medically unwell or things like that. So it is best to get into that practice of, studying the unit, submitting it, studying the unit, submitting it.
Actually, I'm a graduate. I have finished I have finished university since in Corona time.
That's
So yeah, I'm just like upskilling myself.
That's fine, no worries. But yeah, that is the bit which I, obviously want to share with you. But there is obviously some flexibility here so that you are not under pressure, but flexibility is always there, not a problem.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rahman, very much for all your efforts.
Okay, no worries. So I'll make this copy of the recording available to you just after the session. And obviously, if you have any questions or any queries, feel free to come back to me. And then I'll ask one of my colleagues, Jill, to send you the schedule for the next unit starting 21st, which is Monday.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rahman, very
Okay.
much.
Take care, Shaima. Bye
Thank,
for now.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.